go. Let me pull this up. Let me do a sound check and we'll get right into this. You got comments already? What are you saying? I thought the makeup design on the kid walkers was pretty good. Yeah, they faked it all right. Those fakers. Bro, here's how out of it I am. I didn't even think about, like, why is that not playing? Oh yeah, you can hear me good. You can hear me good, see me good. I didn't even think about that being a thing. Like, it didn't even. I know we talked about it. Like, yo, why is that so pointless? You build up to Big Bad Grandma just to like take her out. It felt pointless because you took out her, you took out the Croat, kind of. You kneecapped the Croat. What else did you do? You know, a lot of dumb shit. And I'm like, well, that was kind of pointless. Anyhow, what else? So we're gonna jump immediately into my thoughts and opinions. Which, if you're loving the show, the episode, I don't know if you're gonna love my thoughts and opinions. Let me just pop out the chat real quick. I already started. I pre-set up the poll, so you guys go ahead down below and vote on whether you liked it or not. Blah blah blah. I put some funny things on there. Anyhow, hey Brian, thank you very much for the $5.
Haven't seen the new season but always down to catch the live stream.
Bro, fuck yeah. Thank you very much. All right, so we're going to jump right into my thoughts and opinions, and then we'll get into the fan feedback, and we'll shut this shit down. Okay, so really quickly, Maggie trusts the Croat. Oh, why? Like, what the fuck? Maggie, how stupid are you? And the Croat drags her to another location through these like wiry mazes of booby traps, and she thinks her retarded son is gonna find his way through all this shit. She believes him. You know, how stupid do you want? I know she's supposed to be tired and exhausted, which is another thing that's shitty writing. Listen, characters can be exhausted, that's fine, I'm cool with that, but The Walking Dead has this really goofy way of filming it where they like see things. They're there, they're not there, they're over there, they're under the water. Like, what? Where's the water? Like, there's water. Dumb shit just pops up. Random shit pops up. Really fucking stupid. I hate when they do that. They doubled up this episode. So you get Maggie's, she's all like fatigued, she's weak, she's sleepy, and then Negan falls and bumps his head. He sees a Walker child, which cool. They always complain like they can't do Walker kids because it's too expensive, it's too difficult. Well, this one, they did a bunch of Walker kids. And I think that makes sense because if you're going to shoot one, you know, get a dozen of them or get people that are small enough where they could pass as Walker kids and then just do like a few hour block of time where you could just film them, get it done and dusted and call it a day. And cool, you get cool looking kid walkers. And some of that is fine. They look cool. Someone made a comment about them looking cool. I know we have sleeping walkers. They established that a little while ago, but I think they were actually on the ground sleeping, like resting. And these are walkers that are like, you know, in a hibernating state, so to speak. And I would be fine with that because I love when you do when you do little variations of walkers to keep it in walkers, zombies, zombie-like creatures to keep it interesting. I'm down for that as long as it's established early on. The Walking Dead does this thing where they have only one type of zombie. Well, at first they didn't know what they wanted to do. Then they put their heads together. They came up with only one type of zombie and they ran with it stubbornly, which is fine. I was down for that. But now that they're desperate for ratings, they jump into like these different variants of walkers. And it's only there because they're, you know, I don't want to say like, not only is it for ratings, like a bump, like they're desperate to add stuff, but there's no longer that like stranglehold of, oh, like this is a serious zombie, like we need to stay within. That passion has faded. So that passion really kept, you know, like when they came together and they said, listen, we need one type of zombie. They were really passionate about it. Now it loosened a bit, so they do whatever the fuck they want. So anyhow, she hears her son willingly let them chop off his toe. Now, I don't know if I believe this. Did we see his missing toe? I'm feeling like I'm losing it here. I know she saw like a cut off toe, but did she physically see his foot missing a toe? Because you're gonna let this Dama bitch, which I'll get to the ending real quick, really stupid grandma. She's got like the Michael Myers half burned face on. Her neck is burned. How bad do you think that fucking hurts? Her neck of all places. She has no medicine on it, no gauze. They could have gauzed her up. Like that bitch is gonna get infected. The Dama's dead. Like she's dying right now. She's got this burn open infection out in the zombie apocalypse, and she's just chilling like it's nothing. Like she's gonna die. No way around it. She's currently dying right now in between episodes. That's how stupid it is. But anyhow, so she gets to fake her death, but she makes the kid, or she talks the kid into lopping off a toe and sending it to his mother. Who writes this shit? Like Herschel is unredeemable. Now, I thought Negan was unredeemable, but it's a little different, he was trying to protect his people. We get it. He killed people we like. We get it. But Herschel's just dumb, and he's a dick. He's a dumb dick, and he's a domestic violence abuser against his mother. So he's like all types of shitty character, and he's a legacy character, which sucks. But whatever, die. Anyhow, so we get to, I can't even read my own damn handwriting. That's how much I didn't give a fuck. Oh yeah, and then Croat sees a picture that Maggie's shitty son drew, and he gets this idea. Oh wait, maybe he's at this building, but that's not true. He gets this idea to bring Maggie up there so she can like kill him. Really convoluted shit, bro. Really dumb. And he just goes up there to find like a box with his mommy's picture and ash. I think there was like ashes in it, but it doesn't matter because Maggie holds him one-handed out a broken wall or window or something, and he's all goofy like and she's just holding him there at one hand. One hand's got a knife, and she's superhero. She was fatigued to the point where she could barely walk and stand to keep her eyes open, and it was almost like the Croat was drugging her. It kind of seemed like that, but no, she was so fatigued that she could barely move. And I hate when they film this where she's on the glass, and it's a cool scene because you got a cool location, a cool scene, but you have the character ruin it because the character just sits there. Someone we used to know as a badass character, she just stops and she's like, oh, I'm all frozen. They don't even have her move a little bit, like attempting to survive on her own, attempting to be that survivor we know. And then the Croat gives her an idea and she runs with it, and he helps her out with a ladder. They don't do any of that. She just stops and freezes, and for me it's character assassination. You build up this character to be a badass so much, and then you're just like, yeah, she's just gonna be and we're gonna write this line that she's so traumatized now she wants to kill herself. Like, it's so fucking stupid. Anyway, so the Croat wants her to kill him, I guess, maybe. And this is, again, really dumb. Then they see a light. Oh, yeah, that's Herschel over there. She goes over there to find Herschel. She transports immediately. They take the whole episode to show her traveling here. She transports immediately. Like previously, they have this whole chunk of episode where they drive to the enemy's location from the one guy from Sons of Anarchy. His name's Tig. I forget what his name is here because it doesn't fucking matter. The guy with the goatee, black curly hair, Kim Coates, I think his name is the actor. His group drive to where Negan's at, or Negan's group drives there. It doesn't even matter. But when Maggie walks out the door, like she's suddenly at Negan's camp, it's terrible. They record on like one or two streets that's supposed to be New York, but I think they filmed in Jersey, I heard. But you could tell they only film in the same fucking locations, and they used to do that on the main show. That drove us nuts. Anyway, you'd see like the same uniquely deformed tree in 17 shots that are supposed to be 17 different locations. We used to point the trees out and line them up on our videos just for fun, because it's ridiculous how they were filming so much on the same streets. Anyhow, so Maggie goes up, she finds her son. It's amazing. He wanted her to find her, and I love you, mom. I miss you, mom. And then she looks over, and this half burnt Grandma Michael Myers comes running out. Well, no, she doesn't even run out. She briskly walks out and bops her on the head, and Maggie just stares at her until she gets knocked the fuck out. Like, who writes this shit? This is the Fear the Walking Dead universe. What was that other show? This is like the C tier, D tier writing that they give to interns when they want to make a quick buck on their spinoff and they don't want to pay a good writer. Like, this shit is terribly written. So that's Maggie's dumb storyline with one cool scene I give you. And they didn't even do it all the way cool because Maggie ruined it by being so afraid and standoffish and not even trying. And there was so more they could have done with that type of scenario, but whatever. And then we get Negan, who this is even simpler and maybe dumber. Negan's got to go and find medicine for a kid that doesn't even like him. And he falls, bumps his head, and he hallucinates the whole time. And this is another Walking Dead slash TV trope that sucks. I hate when they do this in TV shows where characters hallucinate for half the episode, and it's this story that they're telling with, I wasn't there for you enough when he's talking about Lucille. All it was to give his wife a paycheck to do a cameo in the episode, which that's fine. If you're going to get your family in to get some money off AMC, that's fine. But the story, the episode, the hallucinations, they suck. Kid Walkers was cool. And then they do a dun-dun-dun-dun at the end of the episode by having Negan say the same shit he said 5 fucking years ago in the main show when Maggie was talking about the current villain at the time and what she should do about it. And he's like, listen, man, I would have done it different. I would have killed all of you. Listen, that was actually a little mini badass moment for Negan in that show. And it's basically the same shit that Negan's saying that, and Negan said it again now, 5 friggin' years later. I don't know, 4 or 5 years later for us. And this is the point where the Negan character should be, or I think it's great to have Negan like, you know what? He's going to be, because now you have this version of Negan that has transformed. He's going to absolutely butcher all of his enemies, but he still has this code, and he's still kind of like, good guy Negan in a way, because if the group comes up to him and they're like, yeah, we're chilling, we're not trying to attack you, Negan's going to be cool. He's not going to try to oppress them. I mean, maybe they want to change him to do that now, but this is where Negan should be. And I think this morally gray type of character is great because you see his point. You get this enemy, like you see Maggie's point. Some of the enemies are salvageable. Some of them you can bring on and they'll live among you and become one, they'll assimilate, right? And but also you don't, it's too dangerous to wait around to see who's going to assimilate and who's going to kill you. This is the apocalypse. This isn't the real world. The real world, you're a little more lenient, but in the apocalypse, you get Negan's point of view. Nope, they're going to follow orders and attack and kill us. We're just going to butcher them all and then keep our people safe. Anyhow, this is where Negan's character should be or could be. I'm down for it. Did I get anything down? And one other thing. Negan has an army now, and he doesn't take a small group. Hey, Negan, this area is so dangerous. No one has ever come back. All right. Give me like 6 of my best, what would you call it? Not smugglers, but like 6 of my best, traversal people, whatever. And, what's the word I'm looking for? Doesn't matter. Give me 6 of my best guys. We're going to go as a group, maybe even split up in 2 groups of 3. We're going to find this medicine, watch each other's back. Nope. Negan, the leader, the head honcho, goes alone. And final thing I'll say about this episode. So the dumbass Dama, faked her death somehow, I mean, the what's his name? A coat rack falls on her or some shit like that. And you mean to tell me this Croat idiot is willing to leave and not wait to watch her die and whether or not she gets out of it? But he leaves. She like somehow comes up with a body to put in the fire. She gets burned, but she gets out of there. And she doesn't immediately find her army and tell them to get the Croat because she has betrayed her. No, she has built all of this in her head and she runs away to hide in a building waiting for a young 17-year-old child to show up. I forget how old Herschel is, but think about this. You know, she is a leader with an army. Her underboss betrays her and she flees from her entire army to run off in the apocalypse to meet up with an underage boy who she has like groomed away from his mother. Like this shit has gotten weird and not interesting weird. Like if you really think about this shit, I know she's irredeemably a villain, but it's just a weird story. If you told me that was gonna be the story, like a grandma boss, bad guy boss, grooms Glenn's son, leaves her army because she's betrayed by one guy in her army, leaves everything she's done, and she probably has like according to stupid writing, some super plan to like get back and attack or whatever. Maybe like have the armies attack each other and she comes in and picks up the pieces, something stupid. But if you told me the dumbass Dama and that's the storyline, I don't think I would have believed you ever in a million years. That is some ridiculous ass shit, you know? Anyhow. Oh, man. That's so fucking stupid. Sorry. That's just so fucking dumb. I'm going to get to the fan feedback. I can't take it anymore. So that's my thoughts and opinions. So maybe like Child Walkers was cool. Maggie with, the height. Some of it was cool. The location wise, the threat of the location. Other than that, oh, that was bad. Oh, man. Let me see what you guys have to say. Let me go in here. I do want to get back to Bryant Martinez. Thank you very much for the super chat goal. I'm sorry, super chat. I'm gonna test this here. You guys don't got to give me any money. I'm gonna do a 5. I just want to test the gold thing. 5 super chats, and we'll do light blue or 2 and higher. I just want to test it. We'll do 30-minute timer and share how you'll celebrate. I don't know. We'll fist bump the air. I'm just testing this. Fist bump the air like a loser. Like a beggar. Okay. That's even better. Like a beggar. Like an online beggar. Get inspired with examples. Should we look at the examples? What's the examples? Here's some ideas for you. I'll stream again on Friday. Oh, that would have been so much better. I'm stupid. I'll play a rhythm game without any sound. What? Hosting a community gaming night. Get 1 extra hour of live streaming when we reach the goal. Dude, I used to do that naturally. This would have been perfect. Remember, I used to do like the gaming streams where if we hit the goal, like we hit $100 and I'll stay an extra hour. I actually really had a lot of fun with that. We didn't make a killing, but I really enjoyed those like 6 months where I did just gaming streams. I'll do a stream when we explore more indie games. Okay, I got it. We're gonna fist bump. Is that not how you spell beggar? Oh, I fucked it up. That's how it is. Well, how can I see it though? Your goal's live. It doesn't say it though. Let me see. I click on the goal. Oh, it doesn't count Bryant's. I guess because I made it after he did his super chat. It doesn't matter. 5 light blue super chats. Fist bump the air like a beggar. Start another goal. All right, that's kind of cool. I mean, if you're doing, It's cool that they're integrating stuff. If you have a really interactive live stream, it's cool that you could put some stuff on there. If people are going to tip anyhow, you might as well do the most you can to give them some sort of interaction. Anyhow, um, let's go back to the chat and see what you fuckers are saying. Another disappointing episode. Cody, you're not lying. Yes, the walkers were sleepy little children. I was thinking maybe they were, what would have been neat? I mean, listen, it's as good as it gets. But if he was like, oh, they must be like, they're sick children that became walkers. So they were sick children. So maybe they're like extra weak walkers. So they got to kind of like move the least, and there's not like food. But then again, walkers don't live on sustenance. It's not like they eat food and they starve. No, they're just an eating machine. But maybe because they were sick when they turned, like that'd be a cool aspect of having zombies that, who you were before. Like if you were really sick and you became a walker, like maybe in a wheelchair or whatever it was, like if you're a walker, you would still move around and whatnot, but maybe you'd be like really slow moving. See, I'm cool with little things like that, even if it's never said, but you can tell. You got these sick kids, but they move around real slow. Maybe that's demented. I don't know. I'm just brainstorming here. Oh, that fucking hurt. How is she still a threat with no crew, and why would she dip out? Exactly, Steven. Major character death I feel coming in 8. They need something. You know what I'm saying? No offense, Pro Max, but at this point, there's no way they can't do something major. Kill Herschel, I hope. You know what I hope? They kill Annie, Negan's son, and Ginny, whatever her little... she's a pointless character. They're not... The Walking Dead lately has a terrible terrible... what's a good way to put it? They are terrible building up secondary characters. You have Ginny since season 1. They could have built her up this entire time. They've barely done shit with her. Hell, for most of this season, she wasn't even talking. Actually, she didn't even talk last fucking season either, right? Like, they are awful at developing new characters and getting us to love them. And that's the lifeblood of a TV show. Developing new main characters for us to love. Like, look at Maggie. She's the headliner. One of 2 headliners. Look at Negan, too. And Maggie came in season 2 twice. And then Negan came in fucking the end of season 6, beginning of season 7. If you're terrible at, and most of the Negan hype is Jeffrey Dean Morgan's really charismatic, and Negan is like a massive comic character. So the hype around his entry. So they had it going for them, but you can't carry on a show, especially this type of show, and not develop new characters that have longevity to them. Like, we don't give a shit about any of these people. All right. I find it annoying when there's a bunch of hallucinating. Same. Pretty sure the second last episode of Daryl season 2 had this too with the point. Yeah, they were high off mushrooms or some shit like that. Herschel dies with grandma. I hope so. I actually like the episode. I hate the hallucinations, but overall it was decent. You know what I could see them doing? Herschel's supposed to die with grandma, but it's a cliffhanger, and next season, like, he doesn't. He pops up somewhere. He's like, Mommy, actually like this episode. What the fuck? I hate the hallucinations, but overall it's decent. This season really sucks though, but at least this one didn't put me to sleep. I'm happy for you. Who's written worse, Herschel or Ellie? I hate both. Well, here's the problem. I would say Ellie because she had more deviation from the source material, and more screen time than Herschel did, I would argue. So there was more of her to annoy the shit out of us with,
Rewatching Yotlu Part 2 gaming streams while replaying the game myself, it's quite entertaining. If they do Part 3, what would you think the story would be? Much love, brother.
Well, hey, thank you very much with the super chat. I don't know what that is. It's CA 13.99, but regardless, it's over the threshold, so it counts as one of the goals. That's fucking sick. Thank you very much. I think it's awesome that people are watching some of the older streams, no matter what they are, the gaming, the TV shows. And if my thoughts on a part three, this is tricky because I do believe that the 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 reaction from fans, both in the game and from the TV show, no matter how much Neil Druckmann claims like it doesn't penetrate his armor, um, I think it absolutely did penetrate his armor. So whatever we get, I could guarantee you, it is different than what he ever would have came with if fans loved and lapped up part two and there wasn't a lot of pushback. And I truly believed that this was the end in his eyes to Ellie's story, and this was a reboot. Part two was a reboot for Lev and Abby. So part three continuation would follow them, and maybe have to do with the Fireflies or something. I mean, the tricky part though is um, trying to predict what kind of weird, like, we should have saw part 2 coming now that we know more about Neil Druckmann. And I say that because Neil Druckmann had this really dumb idea for a zombie game before The Last of Us, and he held on to that really dumb idea for years. And then he finally got a job in the industry and blah, 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 blah. And then he brought that idea out. And it was like this revenge tale of yada, yada, yada. It was like a cop and it doesn't matter. Like Sin City, I think he called it, plus like the Walking Dead or some shit like that. Anyhow, it was not, it was not good, but there was that essence. So his other writing partner, Bruce Straley, helped take the dumb stuff like, oh, it's not a cop, it's a smuggler. Drop the revenge stuff. It's an immune girl and he's smuggling her and they got to make it to this location across town. Like he was like the perfect balance to Neil's ridiculous ideas. But Neil held on to the dumb idea for years, then spit it out. Bruce was like, no, 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 that's dumb. But then once they made this great lightning in a bottle game, The Last of Us, Neil held on to those dumb ideas of a revenge story. And when part two came out, he had this amazing opportunity. He got so fucking lucky that he created generational iconic characters who had one game. This is with their one outing. He had a chance to do more with these characters. He just created, some of the now, you know, greatest, most iconic video game characters of all time. And instead of seeing that for what it was, and continuing something that should have been Ellie dealing with not one now that she has a family and has people not wanting to give her life up for the world, and how that she hates that she feels that way, instead of digging into real meaty storytelling, he just kept that revenge idea. Like, he's so fucking simple minded. He's like, revenge, even though he was told it was dumb before, but maybe his ego was like, yeah, Bruce is a dick. He didn't like my idea, but I'll prove them all wrong. I'll put that idea in Last of Us 2. We're going to get rid of Ellie and Joel's story. We're going to reboot the Last of Us franchise with Lev and Abby, who are now more diverse characters because he did not want the white gruff male. And he openly has talked about that in the past and got, criticized for it in the past from his little friend circle. So this was a way for him to wipe that out, reboot it, start with these new characters. So now it's like, what weird thing is he clinging on to go with part three? I don't know. I can't randomly guess what he's going to think, but if I would have to say, it would have to be something with Abby, Lev, Fireflies, maybe to try to trick the fans now that they're pissed. He would bring Ellie in to trick us, but she'd be barely in the game. And I don't know, again, because maybe it would be hunting down another immune person, or maybe putting Abby in Ellie's shoes. But I really don't know. I know what I would have wanted to do, but I think Neil has a really weird way of over messaging his stuff and going in ridiculous directions. story-wise. It could be fucking anything, you know? Thank you very much for the super chat. I hope I gave you a nice meaty answer. I don't know why I was like, oh, yeah. How is she still a threat with no crew? Okay, let's go. I'm only watching Dead City for Negan. He's badass. Z Nation level writing, but not funny, just cringe. Dead City would fail without Jeffrey Dean Morgan. Probably. When the gaming stream's coming back, Ronnie? Well, I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out. I know YouTube had shut down my Ronnie Hayes channel. I guess they took it out of monetization. I don't know. I got an email about it because I haven't uploaded in a while. Because I was going to keep the video game separate. So I have to look into all that and see what I do. Plus, I'm hooked now. I put my PlayStation in the living room with the surround sound. And I tell you what, I am hooked on having surround sound with the video games. It sounds so amazing. If I move it back up here, I lose that totally. But maybe I'll just invest in getting like really good headphones. And then that'll be... that'll balance out what I was missing, but we'll see. Mama Morgan, either a Croat or Dawn Dies finale. I'm pretty sure the Croat has been in on it because he told Negan he could have saved her, but he just stood there and watched her or something like that. Well, I mean, it would be something if Croat was in on it, but I mean, we're getting into territory where yes, they could do stupid writing, but it would be stupid. Why is it stupid? Well, if the Croat was in on it, he knows Negan killed the rat from the gate. He was arguing with her and they shoved each other. No one was around. So if they were in on it, they didn't show, maybe I missed it. Did they show Negan like in the corner watching them? Because that's a really dangerous, playing with fire to fake a death is really dangerous if Negan is watching. From what I remember, he wasn't watching, so why would they have to fake that little scuffle? It's ridiculous. It would be dumb because it's a writer purposely faking the audience. It's so illogical, it would be dumb. Could they do it? Sure. Would they do it? I don't put it past them. But it would be dumb. And again, he made a big deal about spotting the blood. If he was in on it, he would have already been known that Negan stomped the rat. They, and blah, blah, blah. They wouldn't make a big deal about, oh, I see the blood now. It's just way too convoluted for him to be in on it. But the writing could force that to be the case because the writing sucks. Is Scott Gimple the chief content officer anymore? From what I know, yes. Do you think Rick Grimes will be in the finale? No, I don't think so. Damn, we need a Rick and Negan reunion. Happy Father's Day. Thank you very much, Go Mets. Damn, you hit your head too and don't remember a thing. I feel, I'm jealous. What's this Maggie afraid of heights and passing out bullshit, bro? They tried to write it like the audience is going to see right through this. Let's have the Croat just fucking say like, oh, your trauma has now made you afraid of heights or some stupid shit, She's scared like a dumb bitch. Fuck, man. I saw a video clip. I was like, never mind. This fucking something else. It was stupid. Anyway, I think the Mama Morgan rant was one of my favorite in the channel's history. I don't even remember the Mama Morgan rant, but now I want to. Someone send me a clip. Tell me which video. The Maggie scared of heights thing just made me think of Abby and The Last of Us. I hated it, even though traveling across the building. Listen, they've done that plenty. They've like with Daryl Dixon and him escorting the kid. Like the writers see what is successful in the zombie sphere. So keep in mind, Maggie traveling the skyscrapers is identical to what the Last of Us game did with Abby and blah, blah, blah. I do believe the writers are like, okay, well, this worked in that series, because this is, I've talked about this for years, like one hidden dirty secret of the screenwriting world that they don't talk about, but that's like, passed around among other creators is to literally take what has been done and what fans loved and literally rip it off. And I always bring up a couple examples, like one where Iron Man goes, uh, I am Iron Man, and he clicks or it was Thanos who said, I'm inevitable. And then Tony Stark was like, I am Iron Man, and he does the click, right? Well, a year later, you get Star Wars, who is really struggling, and you have Palpatine say something like, I'm the Sith, or whatever the fuck that retard says. And then Rey is like, I am all the Jedi. They absolutely just stole that because it worked so good for, Marvel. And they're so desperate for writing. They were like, okay, we're going to steal this. We're going to put it in here. I do believe it is part them going, okay, it worked really good in the game. We're going to yank this and use it. And now we have a character who was never afraid of heights before, who is now suddenly acting like Abby would, and they almost ripped it off scene for scene. It's shameful. Anyway, Dama survived the fire so Maggie can get rid of her later. That's fine, but man, is that dumb. We need to just have Negan go Lucille on the whole cast and then end the show. That'd be great. Just the sound of blood dripping off his bat, cut to black, done. I would love it. Yeah, the OG Fortnite streams were goated. Yeah, they were a lot of fun. I mean, I wouldn't be able to survive off doing them nowadays, but we could do something. I know they got a couple like horror games coming out. There's some stuff that I've been really like, my daughter's got into Red Dead Redemption 2, and I never finished it. I only got about 40% into it. And I tell you what, man, I've seen her play. And I'm like, dude, I want to pick that game back up again. There's some things that I see, like I replayed the Days Gone remaster, and when I tell you I enjoyed so much every second of replaying that game and beating it, it's probably my second favorite video game of all time. That would have been great to stream, but where I have trouble is I get off of work, I'm exhausted, right? I sit down, it's such a relax to just play an hour of the game. To put on a stream, you got like 10 minutes of annoyance getting it set up and getting on there. But my thing is like, I'd want to make them entertainment. I don't want it to be like, I'm exhausted. I pop this on and play for an hour and I'm like, all right, guys, I'm fucking rolling. Cause I mean, maybe it's not bad. Maybe I'm overthinking it, which I do for a lot of shit, cause I did record a video for the Predator, and it wasn't any good. It was the Predator TV show or movie, sorry, the animated movie Killer of Killers. It wasn't good. I scrapped it. I'm redoing it soon, so maybe I'm just overthinking shit, which I have a bad problem with. Or I still watch the channel. I dropped The Walking Dead long ago. Well, I'm glad you're here, Austin. Thank you very much, Animated Alex. If The Walking Dead ever did a final season where they all combined the spin-offs into a final season, would you watch it? Yeah. Someone asked me why I'm still watching this shit, and it's basically like a sunk cost fallacy. Is that what it is? I'm in it, 11 more minutes. Our goal's gonna end. My beggar. My goal is ruined. My goal stream. Wait, what am I saying? My goal. No, that's not the word I'm looking for. I forget. I was trying to make fun of DSP because he's retarded, but I forget what he says. He's like what is that? Fuck. What does he say? Or he's like, I forget. Anyway, what happened to the original season 1 and 2 of writers of The Walking Dead? Why not bring them back to give life to the franchise? Well, you can't. You just can't. The original Frank Darabont from the very original got into a very public, very explosive beef with AMC. He sued. He won. He made a lot of money. There's no fucking way you're bringing him back, which he was, the head guy in the writer's room. We don't know to what extent others were helping and yada, yada, yada. There's no way you're bringing him back. It's lost. It's gone, Never get over the flop. That is The Last of Us Part 2. Yeah, Neil Druckmann should be out of Naughty Dog. That shit's crazy. I can't believe someone has failed up so successfully. I love a drop in a season. Rick back home, dealing with the new threat with the group, embracing him as leader again. Man, I really wish they would have just let Negan walk into the sunset after the Whisperer's arc, walk off to sunset. This forced soft family man Negan has killed the character for me. Yeah, it was dead for me long ago. Where we got a skinny, frail, looks like he's dying of cancer Negan, and I don't say that for the actor's sake. It's comparing him to the comic. Negan was such a force because when you looked at him, you were like, oh, I'm fucked. But Jeffrey Dean Morgan, he's a lean guy. He's really skinny. So it's, even though he's like six something, he's really skinny. You look at him, linking around. It's like, what up, Stretch? You don't think like, oh, threatening. Um, Walker with backpacks and no one is taking a look at what they've been lugging around for 20 years, maybe meds. Yeah, that's something that I want to see more of. I know we were coming up with video game ideas when I really, I don't know when, but it would be great to make a zombie video game. And part of the idea would be you can actually loot the zombies that are walking around or, kill them and then loot them. And you would find, they would be walking with the loot. Some of them have the bigger backpacks or bigger bags or whatever they're holding. And I think that would be awesome because you see, 7 or 8 zombies. Maybe you have 3 or 4 bullets, but you see one of the zombies has this big backpack and you're like, damn, it adds in a video game element, it adds to it. And I think in a TV show, it could add to it as well. I like the show, but this episode, honest to God, blew. Literally nothing happened other than the last 2 seconds. Didn't need an entire episode for Negan to get that machine or Maggie to find Herschel Jr. Imagine, we had a whole episode, second to last, and all that happened was Maggie found Herschel after he ran away like a little bitch, and Negan found medicine. We're going to call it medicine, but that's it. Medicine. That's the second to last episode. Those are the biggest elements to the story. And why they suck is because, okay, it's a big deal that for the story that Maggie found Herschel, whatever. But look at the medicine aspect. She's either going to just get better or die. That's how fucking pointless Negan's story was in this episode. Now, given the secondary moment to that is Negan being like, I'm going to kill them all. You already came to that conclusion 5 years ago, you dumbass. Just borrow from what you did, reinvigorate that. You don't need to go on this journey. You don't need to hallucinate, your stupid ass family. You just are, because you've already been there. So yeah, it was a wasted episode. Imagine you're writing for The Walking Dead, which is supposed to be, this is a legendary franchise, supposed to be. And the best you could come up with is killing time in Walkers until the finale. That's the best you got. You're going to write the second to last episode. The best you can do is to stall. That is fucking pathetic, Whatever though. They make the big bucks. What do I know? Ronnie, say Negan in Croat voice. Oh, Negan! I gotta watch that scene again where he says it, but he does that. He's like, what you doing over there? Negan! Anyhow, current image on the screen. Oh, yeah. That image on the screen is the backpack. Also, look at this. So this is The Walking Dead official. I just saw something they posted, right? On X. And when you scroll down, I looked 12 hours ago, 800 people loved it. Only 100 people retweeted it. Bro, that is sad. Like, I didn't think about this to look at the activity on social media. 20 people retweeted this. 57 people loved it. Only 3,000 saw it. 50 people loved this. 25 people loved it. 28 people loved it. 35 people loved it. 80 people loved. Bro, this is pathetic. This is the Walking Dead brand. They should be ashamed that this is the best they could get on activity-wise on social media. This is pathetic. This means your writing is weak. This is a cool poster, though. That's a badass poster. Open image, new tab. Yeah, that's a badass poster. I mean, it's better than what they've been working with. But that's the best they got. 6 million followers. They could barely get, over 50 likes on most of their shit for the Dead City. Bro. That's embarrassing. Negan. Red Dead 2 is goated. If Days Gone is your second favorite game, what is your first? I would have to say the original Last of Us, or, well, I guess it doesn't matter. The Last of Us remastered, or The Last of Us remake. I think, in my opinion, the remake is the definitive version. That should be the only one. I would play the remastered for nostalgic reasons, because it just looks different. But I would have to say, yes, The Last of Us Part 1 is probably my favorite game of all time. Days Gone is number 2 spot. It gets a little tricky from there. I think it kind of weeble wobbles a bit. I know Ghost of Tsushima is very high up on that list. I should make a list one day. And to be fair, I have video games that are very nostalgic, like the original Resident Evil will always be memorable in my mind's eye, because that was like one of my introductions to zombies. My very first zombie video game ever, and it was so like it was so impactful. Like, I still remember being in a dark room, shutting all the lights off, and putting the game on, and that zombie turning its head for the first time. Those sounds, like you're alone in the house upstairs playing, and your parents are off to work. They were both working at the time, so getting yourself creeped out. And I know me and my brother used to take turns, and I'm almost positive he was there when we first turned it on. We both were like glued to the screen. Those memories will always be there. But if I'm honest, the memories are great. The video game was great for its time, but it doesn't hold up to today. No matter how great those memories are, the original Resident Evil doesn't stand a chance against a mediocre modern day game. It doesn't, just because it's more fluid, it's more fun, it's more in depth, the visuals are just better. Now, maybe not a mediocre game, but a good game, a solid game today, like, crushes the nostalgic games of the past. Not all of them, some of them really hold up, like, anyway. So yes, most of the newer games are gonna dominate my top list. I gotta make a list of like my all-time favorites. November Winter says, I love Days Gone 2. I'm actually having a guy over in Australia make me a knife like Deacon's minus some stuff. Nice. That's pretty cool. I'm replaying Ghost of Tsushima. My goodness, the PS5 version looks incredible, and I forgot how incredible the combat is. So smooth and punishing. Yeah, the Ghost of Tsushima looks amazing. It's looked amazing since day one, but it looks even better now. Thank you very much, Big Joe. Yes, there's games I'm excited for coming out. Konos, is that what it's called? It's a space horror game. Chronos, I think it's Chronos. So there's Chronos, there's Ill. I know there's a handful on the top of my tongue, but those are probably the two, like, horror. I am interested in Resident Evil 9, but I'm a little put off just because I think the franchise has kind of lost me. It's just all over the fucking place. But I enjoy what I can when it comes to Resident Evil. AMC's biggest L was in history was getting rid of Frank. Did you see any clips of the new game called Mind's Eye? Might be the worst release of a game I've ever seen. Yeah, it's incredible how bad that release has been. Incredible. Like, how did they release that knowing how bad it was? And if they didn't, at what point did it get fucked up? You know what I'm saying? Anyhow. Yeah, I remember back when you weren't a fan of Show Negan back in the day. Yeah, well, I mean, it flips. I do, Jeffrey Dean Morgan's very charismatic, and I know he was actually one of my top picks. My very first pick, believe it or not, was John Hamm. I still, to this day, I think if you gave him a chance, his size, his demeanor, he is almost like a copy of comic Negan, like almost one for one, shaven and everything, like the slick back hair. He has that beefy look. And John Hamm can do comedy. He can do like loud and boisterous. He can do like, off the wall shit. Uh, Negan in Blue City, Magic City, some TV show, he was buff or bigger. He was more filled out. That is when I said, if you took him from that show and put him in The Walking Dead, he would have been a great Negan because he was like twice or three times the size, maybe twice the size. Croat felt like a wasted villain. Yeah, we're doing the whole like let's humanize him just to kill him off or whatever they're gonna do. Filler season till the end of the Walking Dead writer mindset. Yeah, I think the mindset right now is just um and I truly believe this. I think in the past, early on it was what can we give the fans? Zombie fans, comic fans, new fans, what can we give them to wow them? What can we give them that they've been craving for decades? Because again, before The Walking Dead, as a zombie fan who vividly remembers what it was like before The Walking Dead, I desperately wanted a a zombie show that could make you cry. And I say it that way because I mean something that is very grounded, very emotionally mature and serious and blah blah blah. Um, Before The Walking Dead, you didn't get a lot of that at all. It was very, anyway, back then it was like, what could we give them to satiate their appetite? Now it doesn't feel like that. Now it feels like, what can we display to make the ad revenues, to make the money, to get our resume? Now it's like, what can we put on the screen as a job? And we only got 10 minutes to figure it out. That is exactly how current modern day Walking Dead feels like. Even when there's somebody with a good idea that is giving the fans something they want, it always feels like it's going up a wall, and it has that feeling like someone's in a room and they only have 10 minutes to decide what they're doing. Everything feels like that rush to screen, even when it's not, rush to screen. It does have that feel. From the worst to the best, it has this very limited, get it out quick, churn it out. And I think that's the biggest downfall of the show is removing that passion and not wanting to give even when they're giving the people like, oh, we're gonna give them child zombies. Negan just pushes his way through a bunch of them. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh yay, we waited all this time for child zombies, and Negan just pushes them to the ground, 50 of them. Like, wow, that's interesting. And even some of the other cool shit, it's like, oh, we get this cool thing with Maggie, and she's on this glass and it's breaking. It was filmed very dull. I don't know who the director was. I'm sorry. I might love who directed this. I don't know. It was not your best work. It was very, very dull. The writing was stolen. um, Even when they have stuff like that, it's just weak. Anyway. But Croat helps Dama when he finds out she's alive, and Dama and Croat work with Bruegel and Maggie, and Negan kill Croat and Dama and Herschel and Bruegel and blah 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 blah. I don't even understand. Try using a period, motherfucker. The next episode's the finale. Yeah. The subgenre has so much potential. This subgenre. Now it's quantity over quality, very much so, and it's not even a lot of quantity. I get what you're saying, but it's not. It's 8 episodes. Whoa, you guys are really. It's like they're only making the. And here's another thing, they probably have a contract where they have to make some like a certain amount or something to keep the rights. Those are often involved in licensing where They can't just not make anything for 5 years. They have to make something to, keep the rights in house or whatever. Show bad. Yeah, show is bad. They never added the most sadistic Walking Dead character from the comic, the dude in the prison, the serial killer. I forgot the character name. Thomas, I think his name was. Yeah. Oh, you said it. Yeah, Thomas. Yes, it was Thomas. Well, and the governor wasn't sadistic the way comic governor was. They tried to give him a little edge, which is fine. I do like what they did with season 4 governor. I actually really do like when I rewatch season 4 over again. I have like a way new appreciation and a love for it. Season 4 fucking rocks, and it rocks more than I gave it credit for back in the day. And I stand by that. Season 4 goes hard, bro. I dig it. I'm still like top 25 in Days Gone Challenge #1. Woody Harrelson would have played a great Thomas in The Walking Dead. Maybe. That's cool. My two top games. Or the CRM being completely rehyped or hyped for 6 years only to get wasted in one episode. Yeah. Do I ever reread the Walking Dead comics? I wouldn't say I reread them constantly. It would be. It is, yes. I do reread them, but it is more like years might go by. I might reread some. I know I try to go through them at least once a year just to make sure, none of them had fallen over or shifted or they're like bending and neglected, clean books just to make sure, I don't know, just to put eyes on them. And sometimes to appreciate the art. I know I got a lot of variant covers I've collected over the years. I got a lot of gifts that at the time I was like, oh, here's awesome covers, but I kind of put them away. So I forgot I even have them until I re-pulled them out. But I do have the bigger volumes where I would reread like parts of stories, but it might be like, I might go like 2 years and then maybe I'll read like the Terminus arc or, the first 12 issues or something like that. Something will hit and I'll remember like, oh man, like reading the comic was great back in the day. Let me reread the beginning of the Whisper arc, because that was also one of my favorites. That was like probably one of the last big comebacks were the Whispers in The Walking Dead. But it was also seeming to become very formulaic, where it was like new community person villain. Here's how they interact with the characters we know. They're going to war. It became that, and I think it was like literally back to back war with Negan, war with the Whispers, war with the Commonwealth. It started becoming almost like he didn't know what else to write. Um, season 4 slaps and had some of the best episodes. It really does. I mean, it's got Carol with what is that? Look at the Flowers. I know it's called something else, isn't it? Um, it's got the Terminus arc. I mean, season 4 really goes hard. That's also when they started separating the characters, which that would become a bad habit, but it was still manageable. It was a little frustrating watching live, but it was manageable back then. Do you have your hopes for the finale low? Because I do. I don't have any hopes for a good finale at all. I mean, they've wasted our time for 7 weeks in a row, for the most part. I don't think they're going to suddenly go like, here's something amazing. No. I think right now I feel like Jeffrey Dean Morgan wants out, and next season's going to be like either the death of Negan or him walking off into the sunset. He could have already gotten to them, and this could be the death of Negan coming up, or Negan going off to the sunset where he doesn't want to come back anymore. But it's also tricky too, because I'm sure he's got a friendship with his co-star, and I'm sure they would have talked and been like, yo, let's get one more season out of it, because she probably knows, she went off to do another show and it bombed. The likelihood that she's going to carry the show by herself is not good at all. It is very slim. And I like Lauren Cohan. It is very slim.
Love map. You cover underserved topics. Always cool SHT being discussed, even if it's a bad show.
Hey, Danny DeVito. I fucking love you, man. You're great, and It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Look, chat. The real Danny DeVito, no lie, gave me $3. Thank you very much for the tip. How was that not? Oh, it's not a super chat. I forgot. You know, I could move. Let's look at the poll and close it out. Again, Danny DeVito, thank you very much. I might be able to remove stream element. I mean, you know what? Maybe I'll leave it on there. A tip there or a tip in super chat. Any of it helps, but I know we relied on stream elements because you know, it was hard to wait for YouTube to pay you for the super chats. But right now, my day job covers everything, so I could just rock out with super chats only. But and that might even be easier. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. But still, thank you very much for the $3. And let's end the poll. See what you guys have to say, and then we'll close out the stream. I like keeping it around 1 hour. Did the episode? Okay. Did you like the episode, or fuck me? Did you like this episode? Or did you like one scene and convinced yourself the rest rocked? I don't know. I'm being ridiculous. Sure, one good scene, it still sucks. 40%. Still bored, 36%. Love/like it, I'm easy to please at 22%. Sure, one good scene, it still sucks. I mean, I knew that would get a high number just because I thought, you know, there's something in here that was cool for like a moment. And sometimes that spills over into being like, okay, I was entertained. It was a good episode. And you rewatch it and you're like, sure, that one scene was good, but the rest sucks. You know, this episode sucks. Anyway, so negative is 76% negative, 22% positive on this episode. Not surprised. Who's the name of the new kid that Negan had to watch over Ginny? What if he takes Sebastian's place in the comic and kills Negan Rick style? I don't know. What if? I mean, then Negan dies. I mean, I've always been pissy with these what if questions because it's like, what if it happens? Well, then it happens. Are you asking me if I would like that? No, it would be done because the kid has shown nothing at all to hint that he would do that. It would be wild and stupid as shit for him suddenly to be like, oh, I'm going to shoot you now while you're sleeping in bed. In the comic, it made sense, even though I disagree with it heavily, but he was a shitty little brat and they built up the story to it. You're probably going to be disappointed by Daryl season 3 if you didn't like this season of Dead City, which I don't blame you because these spinoff shows have terrible writing. Well, why are you saying that though? Is there something where this season is like very similar to Daryl season 3, or do you just mean like I'm grumpy for all of it? Because I'm well aware. I think I won't like season 3 of Daryl Dixon. I don't think I liked season 2 or 1. You know, I think Daryl Dixon shows it's just mid. It's so fucking mid. Even when I'm liking it, it's mid. The bottle episodes were the worst. Or Herschel kills Negan. Someone's got to kill someone already. Make The Walking Dead great again. Good fucking luck. Did the Daryl show ever end, or are they still going? They're still going. I guess we can assume Andrew Lincoln is done as well. Done for now. I think he will return once more at the very least. Negan should walk off into the sunset. He should. This is franchise fatigue. Nobody just lets something happen, be good, and end. It just keeps going forever. Yeah. Negan should have just died when Rick slit his neck in season 8. What spinoff would you want to see? I don't want to see any spinoffs. I'm done with them. I would love something fresh. You know, I was actually driving to visit my grandparents today, and I was just thinking about a location where I have worked and how cool it would be for like a zombie outbreak for a TV show to happen in a location like that. Because you would follow different people that's not the cops. That's not, you know, because the reason why writers pick cops a lot is because they'd be the first ones to show up. They're the ones that investigate issues. So it's very easy, it's very helpful for a writer if the character's a cop because they're the ones going to the scene, finding the evidence, doing this and that. But if you pick the right locations, you can have other characters that are going to be more involved with what's going on. They're going to be first on scene, and it has a way different feel. They're not armed, they're not trained. It has, you know what I'm saying? I mean, there's just, and the more I thought about it, the more I was getting interested, and I I was like hyping myself up. Like that would be so much so interesting. That would be so cool. And there's so much you can do with it. I was even picturing like how could they end the first episode? That would be cool. Um, it can be done, and they should be doing it in ways that would make us zombie fans happy. And I don't think the spin-offs work because all they do is they focus on the name of the legacy character and they turn it into a job from that point on. They're like, okay, we got 5 minutes. Let's write. Okay, they stab the zombie in the head. They're going to look for this thing. Oh, they run into new enemies. Is it a foe? Is it a friend? Is it an ally? Yeah, he stabs him in the woods. Then he goes over here. Show more woods, more woods, more woods. And then, but I want them to start fresh, something new, different, unrelated. Just bam. At the very, what would be kind of funny though? If they wanted to just do something totally fresh and all new stuff, but have one moment maybe somewhere where characters are like looking for stuff to loot and they see like Rick Grimes riding by on a bicycle and they're like, what the fuck? Now I've seen everything. Something like that would be funny. But that's as close as it will ever get. That's as close as it should ever get. Outside of something stupid like just giving the fans a little Easter egg funny nod, nothing from the original show should go into, just make it all new. All new. Um Wave Wonder, thank you very much for the $2 super chat. What was the location? Like a construction site? No, it was not a construction site. I do think you could do something with a construction site. No, I mean it was a certain. It would be a certain building, a set of buildings. However, no, it's fully constructed, fully lived in. Um, maybe managing, what's a good way to put it? Maybe management in that, like maybe one is a hotel, one is a this, one is a that. Um, I think there's a I think there's a wide range of different characters you can do that is outside of what we always see, mainly, a cop character. But I don't want to like limit it to one thing. Uh, there's a whole field of it. But that would be the thought process is to do it something where it's contained, but it still has like, the building doesn't matter because you don't know what the building is. Saying it's a random building, but you'd have to be there to understand. But my point though is like there are certain locations that would be fantastic. I'm sure you guys got plenty of them, in your areas where you could be like, oh my god, that would be one, that would be one. So you mean like a strip mall kind of thing? Like it wasn't a specific building per se. No, I didn't have a specific like this here. It is like in theory an idea, but a strip mall would play a part in it. I think there's a lot of potential for those. Um, especially when you're thinking of these buildings with large panes of glass. You got elevators and stairs. You can use the elevators and you can add on to cool stories there because this is a mystery. The elevator opens up, you have multiple floors. You have no clue what it's going to open up to. It could open up and there's someone, running down the hall. Like picture this, zombie outbreak is just just popping off. Your character doesn't even know what's going on, but some shit hit the fan. Maybe some guy was attacked. Your character gets in the elevator, hits floor one. Maybe he's on the ground floor, hits floor one. The doors open up. There's someone just sprinting dead at them, like maybe bleeding and maybe like freaked out looking. They're down the hall and they're just booking right for, as soon as the doors open, they're already running straight for the elevator and, they're foaming at the mouth, crazy, screaming. And then behind them, you see like some other shit, movement. And the character freaks out, goes to shut the door. He doesn't know what's going on. This person could be mad too, like the person you saw before. So he hits floor 2 and he goes up a floor and those doors open up and you could show like some guy just getting his head beat in or girl getting or she's beating someone's head in. And then he's like, holy fuck, and he hits the button and there's that delay. So you have the person just like crushing the person's skull 5 feet away. And he's like trying to shut the door, he or she, and the door just slowly, because the delay, I think it would add humor to it. There's tension there. He's like, fuck it, go to floor 3. You go to floor 3, it opens up, and maybe you got 50 zombies. Like, you don't know what you get. So you got the elevator, you got stairs. You can start building now. You got big panes of glass. So he gets to one area, and you just have a whole line of, not a whole line, but a whole mess of zombies up on that glass. You do visuals. We've seen that before. We've done it before. The glass could break, could not break. That could be like a location where that walkway is now blocked because you got zombies up on the glass. So later in the show, they'd have to find a way to get them to move so you could get maybe to another part of the location. But I mean, these are just all types of different random ideas that would be cool to see. But my point though is there's still so much fun shit. And you have to have a really creative mind, because someone could say like, zombies on glass, and you're like, oh, we've already seen it before, but you have to do it a right way that is very fresh, even though it's, dead rotted zombies. I don't know. I mean, I'm just a fan who wants more zombie shit. You still have your Walking Dead comic collection? I do. I'm slowly but surely working backwards on mine. I've got 193 down to 61. Yeah, you know what? I've accepted the fact I'll never have like a first print #1 issue. I mean, maybe one day I get lucky, but I I do have a first print Walking Dead #1 weekly, which is my substitute for it. If you don't know what that is, the weekly is like a reprint of the issue, but it was the reprint done when they started making the show to kind of like hype people up. I believe that's when it was done. They made like issue 1 to 155 or something like that. Anyway, but I do have like 1 to like 40 or something like that, or 30, and half of them are the weeklies, which is fine by me because it's like the way least expensive option. Now they're probably more expensive than when I got them, but I would like to fill in the gaps. My thing though is I think I'm gonna wait a little bit. The comic stuff is weird, man, because they they are just a pain in the ass to store. They're heavy. They just take up space. They're bulky. They're just, you got to keep them in air conditioning, and they're just a pain in the ass. Like I only have a very limited, the Walking Dead comics. I got a couple handful. I will only read them, but it's just such a pain to collect them. So I think if I were to ever get like, if I were ever to buy a home, I would obviously have like maybe a room or two that would be movie room, collectible room, and I would have it in there. But I don't know, man. I'm going slow at it, I'm not currently buying them, but if I come across any, I would love to pick up some. Is Rick already home as these episodes are going on? I have no idea. Hey, did you see Andor? No, I did not. That was good. Lutheran Real, so it was badass. I'm gonna try to check it out. A lot of people say it's good, so I just can't find the interest in Star Wars anymore, even though people say it's really good. To me, Fear the Walking Dead was fresh till season 4, then it went to crap. Yeah, a lot of people share that feeling. I was a little maybe I need to rewatch it, but I was just burned, burned out by then. It was real slow and hectic. Not hectic, but real slow and choppy for me. Oh, so you mean like a strip mall kind of thing? Okay. Your idea sounds more interesting than these spin-offs. Well, thank you very much, Animated Alex. I'm sure if a lot of zombie fans just said what they wanted to see, most of us would be like, fuck yes, I think that's what they need, man. Get a fan in here and do some awesome shit, some shit made with real passion. And that's the funny part. AMC is so up their own ass about their budget. You know, you can have an idea. There's different, like I was just talking about. We might cover it another time, but there's different locations that you could do a singular location. You would go from indoor to outdoor. The visual will be a downtown. It doesn't have to be New York. And visually, it works. It's a good visual. But AMC's just, um, I don't know, man. They just don't have the vision for it. And that would be stuff they want. They always talk about like do it indoors because filming outdoors is expensive because you got the sun and you got all this other shit that you gotta, the sun and the shadows causes a lot of problems. It's just easier to film indoor. You can control the lighting, the takes, blah blah blah. You could do that and make AMC happy, but you still need to put a budget into it. Still can't believe we never got a proper Walking Dead game during its heyday. The VR game is ironically probably the best Walking Dead game in terms of gameplay, at least, but no one plays it because VR is limited. Yeah, there's two games. I think Sins and Sinners, not the Skybound one are actually really fun. I think the AMC one is fun too, but I think the comic book is better. But true. All they had to do was take like Days Gone, for example, and say, we want a Walking Dead game like this. And it would have been explosive, And they just can't do it. And I get it, though, because they sell the license and they don't care. They don't care if you fail when they sell. They're already paid. But my thinking is, what about the brand? What about the value of the brand? When you sell your licensing like that and the game flops, your brand takes a hit, and it's just baffling. They wouldn't come up with something that has already been done. Ben Studios did it. Naughty Dog did it. Other companies have done it, will do it. You could take a game like that and make it into a Walking Dead game and boom. We dropped The Last of Us TV show after season 2. Wait, what? I just got the Walking Dead compendium. That's what's up. Will you drop The Last of Us TV show after season 2, or will you review season 3, season 4 of the show? Well, I don't know. I think we might review season 3, but I can't say that for sure. Because I don't know where we'll be at content-wise when it comes out. But we most likely won't do per episode, but we'll see. We might do like all of it at once. I don't know. Invincible type reboot for The Walking Dead follows the comic, in my opinion. I don't even really care not much by the best hope. Yeah. Yeah, it's a little tricky though, Cole. He says an invincible type reboot of The Walking Dead that follows the comic book. I don't really care for animation that much, but that's probably the best hope for it. Now, Cole, the problem though is AMC can't do that. The Walking Dead has the rights to the comic and the animated, that's their shit. The TV show, could they make an animated TV show? See that, and that's where it gets really tricky with the rights. The way you're talking is, it sounds like you want them to make an animated, or not, maybe don't get hung up on that, but you want them to do what they did with Invincible. But AMC doesn't own the rights to The Walking Dead in that way. They can't make an animated Walking Dead based on the Walking Dead comic book. I mean, in theory, you would think they could, but their licenses, for live action, they already have their characters. So if they made it animated, it would have to be like Daryl Dixon, Andrew Lincoln, Rick Grimes. Now, could they remake the Walking Dead show? Yes, but I don't believe the license would allow them to do animated like the comic. I don't think it would, because then that would blur the lines to Robert Kirkman's, license, because he still has the comic. He could probably do, and maybe the license won't let him do an animated Walking Dead show. I forget. I used to know the details to that, but again, it's not as clean. That would be blurring the lines, but I don't think they're able to do that, you know? Now, if that's a tricky one. If it was yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's based on the comic, but they have their live action. Can they restart? I don't think they can, but that's a little tricky. Mm. All right, last question or two. Telltale Game Walking Dead was good. Yes, it was good, but AMC doesn't own that, so they won't be able to do that. Not that you mentioned it. I just thought I would mention it in case someone else got the idea for it. I think it would be cool to have an original story where we get different episodes of the main cast going through their stories and survival, then coming together in the final episode next season, built on it. I'm cool with an idea where you're showing like, even when I was thinking about that today, like, how cool would this space be? I was like, it would be cool too because you can have a character, running down the hall for whatever reason, and then the next season, when you're adding to the cast, you can show another person's perspective from the beginning of the outbreak, and they would eventually look through the peephole and they see a character run right by the door, and that would be like the main character from the first season, but now you're showing what they were doing, when it was all kicking off. So, the character would find somebody like dead on the third floor. And it's like, had that happen. And then in season two, you would see that this new character you're introducing got in a fight with someone and ended up beat like a zombie and ended up beating them to death, stabbing them in the head, and that was the body from season one. And that's similar to what you're saying, Big Joe, or at least I think so, is where you can see the characters from the beginning of the outbreak to a certain point, and then by the end of the first season they are kind of like a gang or kind of like a unit, and it shows how they came together. Ideas like that work. It can be done. It depends though, because I don't want that to overtake. I don't want that vibe to overtake the whole series, and now every fucking season they got to do that same thing. I would like them to, do that and maybe play with that here and there, but focus on these characters and that story, and not focus on the structure, so to speak, or be obsessed with it. Thoughts on Charlie Hunnam Jax from Sons of Anarchy playing Ed Gein in a net? I think he could make it work. I think the problem with the idea is that people are just burnt out on the characters at this point. I agree. I think people are burned out. Yeah. Um, yep. All right. Speaking about burned out, I'm gonna go burn up. No, I'm just kidding. I'm going to fuck to bed. I gotta get up early and go to work because I'm a working man. Oh man. I tell you what, I am looking forward to The Walking Dead. No, I'm sorry. The Walking Dead. Dead City to be over. And eh, I know some people aren't gonna like it, but I will make a change if we review Dead City. I'm sorry, Daryl Dixon season 3, Dead City season 3, Last of Us season 3. I'm making a change. Um, well, I don't know about The Last of Us, but I it's not I just can't juggle it anymore doing late night and then going to work early because I wake up super early in the morning. I think we're just gonna do it earlier. Like, I know there's some people that still watch it at 9 o'clock, and I'm sorry, but we're just gonna have to stream earlier, and that leads into Big Joe asking, "Will you keep streaming live on Sundays?" I would like to, because I do wanna use the Sunday streams to start building the content that we got coming up. I have ideas, I do wanna rock with it. I will need a lot of support, a lot of help, not like give me money support. I mean, like, watching, be active, leave comments. I would like to build up a nice little group of us. We only need a few thousand of us to keep it alive and to keep this flowing. I got a day job, I don't need everyone throwing super chats all the time. We'll get what we can get, but I need like the support itself of being here and active and commenting and hitting the thumbs up button. But I would like, if we do keep going on Sundays, I need it to be earlier. I just need it to be earlier. Um, because it's hard shutting down, try to get yourself to go right to sleep. I gotta sleep for what 4 or 5 hours, and I gotta be up. Sometimes it's usually only 4 hours. And I've been burning myself on 4 hours of sleep, but soon coming up, I just want to get a full 6 hours minimum. You know, at least I'm getting 6, 7 hours. I need at least minimum. I just don't think burning myself out is a good idea. So I do want to let you know, no matter what we do coming up, it's got to be streamed earlier. Unless I don't have work the next day, then it's fine. We can yard out, bitches. You know. All right, did I say last question yet? Well, let me see. I forgot already. Oh yeah, I did. But we got a couple more. Stop asking questions. We're ending this. Listen to your daddy. It's Father's Day. Oh no, it's not. Oh yes, it's still Father's Day. You listen to your daddy and stop asking questions, chat, you motherfuckers. All right. First time catching a stream in over 6 years. What the fuck, bro? You compliment me and insult me at the same time. You're like, hey man, I haven't been here for 6 years. I'm fucking with you. Thank you, Predator. Wow. Predexer? Predexer? Okay. Predatexer. Okay. Predatexer. All right, Predator. Thank you very much, Mr. Mayhem. See ya. No illegal 1080p. What the fuck? All right, guys. Be safe. Have a good one. I'm out of here. I did put this on my. I can't do it. I was gonna put this on my fist and then punch the fucking screen. Grab the screen and punch it. Okay, what the fuck?